In this video, I'm going to talk to you about how fast mind mapping is compared to written notes and help you discover how mind mapping can save 2 full weeks of exam revision compared to written notes. I know it sounds amazing, but I can show you the maths, or the math if you're in America. I started mind mapping at law school, and I'm going to imagine that you're either in high school, college, or university doing a course while you're working. And if you're in one of those situations, you know how important your time is. Studying can take up a lot of time, and I want to help you save some time with your studying and have a bit more fun while you study as well. When I got into law school, I used written notes, and I got into one of the best law schools in the country. And I used written notes successfully in my first and second years. But then, in third year, I decided to try mind mapping. And everything changed for me then, because I was trying to deal with information overload. I'll tell you a story. I'll never forget where my information overload began. I learnt it in my first lecture. I'll never forget that first lecture. We all sat down in the law school, ready for our first lecture, and the moment the lecturer spoke, everyone's heads went down and they started writing furiously. Now, I wasn't used to taking really intense notes when my teacher was talking, but it seemed like everyone knew what they were doing and I didn't. And at the end of that lecture, I turned to the girl beside me and I said, "How do you know when to write down what he says and when not to? Because I can't write everything he says down." And she looked at me with this kind of manic look in her eye and said, "Write everything you can." And you know what? I did for the next 2 years. And I wrote so many words that in the end I had complete information overload. Written notes work, but they're really time-consuming. And so I wanted to find a more efficient way of doing things. I love efficient ways of doing things. And so I discovered mind mapping from Tony Buzan's book, Use Your Head. It transformed the way I studied. I wish I had learnt it when I was at high school. I found out I could take what would normally take me 4 or 5 pages of notes and put them into one A4 sheet. It was incredible. I had all the key words, all the facts, all the concepts, all connected on one page. It ignited a love of learning and a freedom to actually listen to what the lecturer was saying and to understand it in the lecture. I know this sounds crazy, but when you're writing notes, often all you're doing is capturing that information and you're thinking to yourself, "I don't understand what he's saying, but I'll figure it out later when I've got more time." Well, do you know what? I didn't have more time because I was at another lecture, and then another lecture, and then another lecture, and it just piled up. And soon, after the second or third week, I was beginning to think, I don't understand what on earth he's saying, but I'll just write it down and somehow I'll figure it out before the exam. I don't know if you've ever experienced what that's like, but I wanted that to stop. And when I learned to mind map in the lecture, it was amazing because I could understand what they were saying while they were saying it, and I just had to write down the few key words and the key facts as we went along, rather than writing a novel. Now, I want to show you the impact this has on your time, and I want to show you real facts that you can work out for yourself. So let's take one example, one of the benefits of mind mapping, and that is how quick they are to read. So take the scenario. I was in second year and I would do 5 pages of notes per lecture. Now, you might do 3 or 4 or 6 or 7. The average in my class was 4 or 5. Let's say we did 4, okay? And then in third year, I did 1 per lecture. How long does it take you to read 1 page of notes? On average, it takes people 3 minutes to read a page of notes. That would make 1 page 3 minutes and 4 pages 12 minutes. Now you might say 3 minutes, 12 minutes is only 9 minutes in it. What's the difference? I'll just stick to written notes. But what happens if you work out how much time it takes over a whole year to read those notes? Let me show you. I was amazed at how much time it saved when I worked out the maths. Now I knew it from real life that it was saving me tons of time, but I'd never actually worked it out. Let's work it out. Let's look at my second year of law school. I'm doing a lecture and I'm taking 5 pages of notes. It takes me 12 minutes to read those notes. I'm doing 12 lectures a week, which is about average for university. So that's 12 times 12. And that's over 38 weeks, which makes 6,840 minutes. That's 91 hours. That's 2 full working weeks just to read your notes. It's incredible. Have you ever wondered why it takes so long to revise for an exam? That's one of the reasons. Let's take the next scenario, put it underneath, and say 1 page of notes in third year, 1 page of notes for a lecture, 3 minutes. 12 lectures a week, 38 weeks in the year, makes 1,368 minutes. What's that? In hours, 22 hours, 3 days to reread your year's worth of notes instead of 2 full weeks. That's why I love mind mapping, because it saves me tons of time. And that's only one of the benefits of mind mapping. So I hope through this I've piqued your interest, that you might think, gosh, it might be worth giving this mind mapping thing a bit of a look into. So I've showed you in this video how mind mapping is faster than written notes, can help you with information overload. And in the next video, I'm going to show you the 5 reasons why people do mind mapping instead of written notes. See you there.